Hey, howdy everybody. How's it going? Welcome back to my channel and welcome. Oh geez, gosh, this thing is, it's clicking. Welcome to episode 4 of CoreyCast. Just a quick PSA, just in general, the CoreyCast episodes, as you can probably guess, since there hasn't been one since September, are not going to be monthly and will just be whenever I can remember to do them, because I clearly cannot. So I am just going to do them whenever I can, and you'll just get them whenever, because it's not a consistent schedule. That's my own fault, but I can't do better than that. So sorry. But also I'm pretty sure most people don't care too much about this. It's just kind of fun for me to kind of recap my thoughts on some things and talk about how my opinions have changed or not on some of the albums that I've heard. So we're back here. Anyway, last episode was September, like I said, and I ended that with talking about like Mirar and Leprous and that kind of stuff. So since then I've heard a lot of stuff, so I'm going to kind of go through all the stuff that I've heard and how my opinions have changed on it, or what I think of it now, basically. Is it the same? Has it changed? Like what do I think of it now, basically? All right. So after, I'm pretty sure the next one after the last episode ended was Kalandra, A Frame of Mind. So I listened to that and I thought it was okay on a first listen. It was much more focused on the atmospheric side of things and nailing that vibe, as opposed to really interesting and really gripping melodies that their previous album, the masterpiece, The Line, was like that. This one, I still think it's good. It's still good. It's not quite as good as The Line, though. And I think that's mostly just because of the melody thing, like I mentioned. It's more about atmosphere. Songs like I Am, Bardagin, I Remember a Time, I'll Get There One Day, like those are such like really good songs. And then there's other ones that are okay, but I don't love, like Untie the Knot, Are You Ready? State of the World is good. I forgot about that. That one, like I don't listen to it as much, but I think it's really beautiful. Segla, A Life Worth Living, like those. Hitta is a instrumental track, and I think it really nails that atmosphere. I don't skip it when I listen to the album because it's just so beautiful and calming to listen to, but you can barely call it a song because it's like a little bit of piano with some atmospheric sounds and like the sounds of like a tea party or something, it sounds like. So that's kind of how I'm feeling about that. I'm not going to necessarily rank these albums on my ranking scale unless I feel a very strong way about them. I'm just going to kind of tell you how I feel about them now. So that's generally my thoughts on A Frame of Mind. Next up was, looks like Allt from the New World. And that one I praised on a first listen. I thought it was really, really good. It kind of fell off a little bit for me as I listened to it a bit more. Most of the songs are like just okay, but not bad. Not like, there's nothing below a 6 out of 10. I would say there's no song that's below a 6 out of 10. I just think the songs that are lesser good on the album, I'm not going to say bad, they're lesser good. The songs that are lesser good on the album are just lesser good because there's something not quite as memorable about them. But songs like Remnant, Aquila, Ephemeral, like those are my top 3 favorites. And I think the transition from A Flash of Light into Remnant, and that being the like main first track of the album, really sold Remnant for me. Like I liked Remnant when I first heard it. I thought it was okay, and then, but you know, in the context of the album, I love it way more. So like Remnant into Aquila, I'll listen to like the first 3 tracks, and then I'll skip Memory of Light. Maybe I'll skip Echoes. Orphan Breed is cool, but like it's got a groove to it. It's got a vibe, but I'll skip that one sometimes. Dissect Yourself, I'll skip occasionally, not all the time. Emanate, I think, is my least favorite song on the album, and then Ephemeral is amazing. Aquila's number 1, Ephemeral is a close number 2, and Cycles, I don't even remember how that song goes, honestly. I'll have to listen to the album again, but that tells you how I feel about that. Still a decent album, still a good album. It's just this year was a little bit weak for music in general. The lows and like the mids were kind of low and mid, but the stuff that was high was great, like Caligula's Horse and Vola, stuff like that. Amazing. All right. After From the New World, I listened to 156 Silence, People Watching, and maybe an unpopular opinion, but I'm full of those. I didn't really like this album. I said it was decent on a first listen. It has some good atmosphere. The more I listened to it, though, the more I disliked it. I don't hate it, but it's just kind of in the same vein as like Invent Animate for me, or no, not Era, because I just really don't like Era. It's kind of in the same vein as Invent Animate, where it's not offensive, it's not bad, it's just a little boring, and I just kind of really like. I don't really want to listen to it. I mainly wanted to listen to it because the album cover looked so sick, and then I actually got around to listening to it, and I was like, yeah, this is good. I liked it in my first reaction, but I just think it fell off a bit as I listened to it more, and I just don't really care for it that much. So that's my opinions on that album. Next up was Fit for an Autopsy, The Nothing That Is, and this one was a banger. I really enjoy this. I gave it Masterpiece, and I'm torn between giving it Masterpiece and Banger tier. I'm kind of in the middle on that, because there's some days when I think it really hits, and then there's some days when I think it's just... And the only reason that I wouldn't put it in Masterpiece, if I had to give a reason for not putting it in Masterpiece, is the fact that Oh What the Future Holds exists. That album is so perfect, and it is such a masterful album from them, that if that album didn't exist, this would probably be my favorite Fit for an Autopsy album. But as it stands, it's just not quite as good as Oh What the Future Holds. Not by a large margin, but it's not quite there. Now, it has Red Horizon, which is one of their best songs, if not their best. Like, definitely one of, up there with like Higher Level of Hate and Hydra, and other ones that can't come to mind right now, but like those songs, the ones that like really groove, and Red Horizon really grooves. That's, I mean, if you saw my video, that's one of my favorite songs of the year. I think it was number 3 on my favorite songs, or it was definitely top 5. I forgot. I don't know the order, but that album, it's got some great tracks. I don't think there's a single bad song on the album. That's high praise. It's really, really good. Even Hostage, which I remember not liking quite as much in my album reaction, and I said was the weakest song, even Hostage grew on me, and that slow groove of like the like that slow groove in the beginning is so good. Spoils of the Horde, amazing. Savior of None, Ashes of All, amazing. Weaker Wolves, amazing. Red Horizon, perfect. Title track, really good. Lurch, love the breakdown. Just like every single song has a lot of good stuff to it, but I feel like the grooves and the breakdown callouts and just the album flowing as a whole was a little bit better in Oh What the Future Holds, and it pushed it a little bit over to the top. And so that's kind of why I'm torn between Masterpiece and Banger, because I want to put it in Masterpiece because there's not really a bad song on it, and I enjoy it, and every time I go back to it, I think it's great. But the only reason I'm holding back is because of their other album, which is perfect. Then I heard Friend of a Phantom. I don't think much needs to be said about this album. I think it is perfect. I think it's amazing. I think it's flawless. It was second only to Charcoal Grace, just because I'm such a sucker for concept albums like that, and Charcoal Grace nailed it. But it won second place. It was second place album of the year, and it was well deserved. It's amazing. It's perfect. Every single song goes so hard. There's not a single bad track on there. Even the songs that I didn't like quite as much on first listens, in like my reaction videos or whatever to them, I think they hit much harder in the context of the album, and it's a really solid album. And definitely my favorite Vola album. Very close second is In Mazes. I should update you guys on that. In Mazes is now In Mazes is now my second favorite Vola album. Very, very close to Friend of a Phantom. It's almost a tie. And after that is Applause, and then Witness kind of lower. I just don't like the last half of Witness all that much. I'm sorry. Just after after These Black Claws, forgot the name for a second. After These Black Claws, I just think the last chunk of that album is a little bit forgettable compared to the rest of their discography that I've heard. Speaking of which, I know, I need to listen to October Sessions and Monsters and like all that kind of stuff, and I need to finish out their discography, and I will. I'll get to it. Don't worry. I just have a lot of other things that I also want to get to, and it keeps getting pushed aside. Same with Agent Fresco. Like, I really want to go back and listen to their other album. Is it just one other album that they have? Whatever. The one that came out like 2010 or something. I really want to go back and listen to that. Again, I just either keep forgetting, or I get excited about something new, or I'm like, ooh, let me play Silent Hill 2, or like I can do a Skyrim episode, or my new channel that I just made where I'm doing TV show reactions now, and I started watching Severance. Like, I want to do so many different things, and then I just don't have the time to do it all. So I will get to it, just slowly. I will get to everything, I promise. So that's kind of where I stand, and that's my ranking on Vola's albums now. I love their music so much. They are probably a top 5 band for me, just of all time in general now. I'm so glad that I found them last year. That's my favorite find of 2024 was Vola. Then we got to Sad Night Dynamite, Welcome the Night. This is a really solid album. It's really good. I gotta say though, let me just pull up the album. I've got like YouTube and OBS here, and I'm like just going through my YouTube channel, and then I got Spotify over here. Welcome the Night. I gotta say though, not quite as memorable as I hoped it would be on subsequent listens. It's still got some really good songs like Wake Up Pass Out, Godfather, If You Walk. I actually think those top, like the first 3 are great. Oh, the title track is amazing. Everything else is just dude, Knife in the Mud is so underrated. It's not my favorite song, but it's so underrated. As an outro track, I don't know what it is about it, but it hits so hard. It's one of my favorites. I think Knife in the Mud is number 2, behind like Wake Up Pass Out number 1. Knife in the Mud might be my second favorite track, then Godfather, then If You Walk. No, then Godfather, then Welcome the Night title track, then If You Walk, then the rest of the album. I don't know, just throw those in there. The rest I don't really care about. Those are just my favorites. Something about Knife in the Mud just hits, dude. I don't know. But overall, some decent tracks. Not amazing though. I think their previous, what is it, EP? Yeah, no, the album. The previous album, Volume 2 from 2022, I think that was better. I think every song on that kind of hit hard. Except, Demon was a little bit annoying. The hook was kind of annoying in Demon, but I think that one is overall better. And this one, even though this one's like 10 minutes longer, I just think the longer length, it wasn't really that interesting, some of the other songs, but not a bad album. Sorry, my throat's dry. I just ate dinner, and that happens sometimes when I eat dinner. Then I listened to Panda's Request. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I listened to Panda's Request, Corelia New Wilderness, which was an album that he wanted me to listen to very early on in my channel. It was towards the beginning of when I started my channel at the end of 2023. And I told him I'd get to it eventually, and he didn't have to pay for it. This may have even been before I set up my Patreon. I don't even know. But I told him I was going to do it, and I finally did it. And I regret not listening to it sooner because it is amazing. The title was not clickbait. It is one of the best prog albums ever. It is so good. I recently just went and downloaded actual audio files and then like put them on my phone and on my computer and stuff, so I can actually like listen to them through Spotify instead of having to go to YouTube and listen to like the whole hour and a half whatever YouTube video the whole time every time I want to listen to it, because that's a little bit annoying. So I did that, and it's allowed me to listen to it more conveniently, and I still have not wrapped my head around it because it's a long album and there's a lot of music, but I just love it every time I listen to it. I don't think it's got that many flaws. I think it is one of the best prog albums I've ever heard, and it's great. It's a lot of fun. The melodies are beautiful. The instrumentals are beautiful. It's just a shame that they couldn't finish it, and it had to be finished by some fans, but it was still done really well. Still really good. And I like hearing the different mixes of it too. There's some different versions of it that people have done, and I think it's done super well, just in general. So yeah, please go listen to Corelia New Wilderness if you haven't. I listened to the Lander Community Remaster, and I think that is quite fire, if I do say so myself. Then I listened to a couple singles. Iapetus the Body Cosmic. Decent song, but not fully my thing. I think it's really good. It's got some emotional blast beats. Pretty cool. Thornhill Nerve. I actually have not listened to Nerve since this video. I want to save it for the album, and I want to experience this Thornhill album with all of the songs there and hear it more in the context of the album. So I still think it's really good from what I can remember, but I just didn't hear much of it since then. Spirit Box, Perfect Soul was my next video after that. Oh my goodness, dude. I'm not cutting any of this out. You're getting the full messed up package today. Spirit Box, Perfect Soul. I do think Spirit Box, since Eternal Blue has been a little bit boring, Eternal Blue is a great album. One of the best metalcore albums ever, I would actually say. Maybe people think it's controversial. I think it's great. I think Eternal Blue is a great album. It's a masterfully done metalcore album. Their new stuff, though, it's starting to feel a bit stale. And I don't know if that's just because they're just doing the formula from Perfect Blue over and over again, but I would like to see them try some new things. I still like them because Courtney's vocals carry so heavily, and I talked about that in the video reaction, but Courtney's vocals are so beautiful, and they just carry the band, for sure. Even though some of the riffs are boring and some of the stuff, I just think the way that her harmonies line up with the chords and things is perfect, and that's mostly why I love Spirit Box. Overall, not a horrible single, not a bad song, but I may kind of have to just listen to the album as a whole and see how it flows. I don't know. We'll find out. Then I checked out David Maximisic, Where Is Now? This song was a Patreon request from somebody. I forgot. It might have been JoJo. Let me just double check real quick. This song, though, was amazing. No, it was not. Oh, no. JoJo requested Iapetus the Body Cosmic. It was actually Cynical Entity who requested that. So cool. Just gonna put that there. Okay, yeah. So I need to hear more of David Maximisic. That's another artist that I really want to get into. I just have not had the time, and or I forget when I do have the time, and I do other things. But man, his music is gorgeous. I've heard like 2 or 3 songs from him, and I have been blown away by everything that I've heard. I'm gonna see him live in March with Vola, because he's touring with Vola and Intervals on the Memory Palace tour. I don't think I've heard a single Intervals song, so it should be interesting going into that tour and seeing that. I'm mostly just going for Vola, and then David Maximisic was a surprise when I found out that he was there, and I was going to hear him live, so going to be cool to see that. After that, I checked out Return to Life Esoteric. This is an album by Long Raccoon in my Discord, and it's a one-person solo project, and I think it's really good. I've gone back to it a few more times, and I think it's kind of like my thoughts in the video haven't really changed. I still think the same thing about it. It's really well done. The emotional impact is great. It's got a lot of great melodies and chords and just atmospheric moments. There's just something about it that I don't like love super much, and I think it's mostly just due to like, I don't even know what it is, dude, but there's something about it, like I listen to it and I'm like, this is good, but like I'm not in love with it. No offense to you, but because I know they're watching this video, probably, maybe not, I don't know, but I don't mean any offense, but I don't love it super much, but like, you know, everything I said in that video still stands up. I think it's really solid. Then I checked out Snow Sleep, which was a request from somebody. I don't remember who it was. Checking my Patreon. Who in the world had me listen to Snow Sleep? It was somebody. Was it Pig Vomit? No. Who had me? It was somebody. I don't know. Someone had me listen to Snow Sleep. They probably sent me a thing in Discord about it. Anyway, Kardashev, Snow Sleep. Love Kardashev. Liminal Right is a great album. And Snow Sleep was great too. I was really surprised by how melodic it was. And I haven't listened to it since. There you go. Those are my honest opinions. Cryptodira Negation Consumes Affirmation / Itself. Those two tracks, they were really cool, but like I said in the video, I'd like to hear them in the context of an album more. And it was just kind of like, okay, this is interesting, but I'm kind of missing some context, and it was just kind of like, it just kind of fell to the side for me after that. Then I listened to Means End cover of Nux Arumque by Eric Whitaker. Pretty solid. It's cool, but again, like something about some of the music I've heard this year or last year has been just a little bit like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but I'm not going to come back to it that much. And that was kind of there too. Just the way that song flowed. All right. Then I did a video on Ara Senkrechte Welten, which is some more atmospheric black metal. I've been really getting into the atmospheric black metal lately. I really enjoyed a lot of it, and this was just another one. And a lot of it, not a lot of it's sticking. A lot of it's kind of like I listen to it and it goes in one ear out the other, and I'm like, that was cool. I'm gonna go listen to something else now. So, not saying I didn't love it, but just that it's not really something that I go back to all that often. Then I listened to the home team, Crucible of Life. And this album, I think, is about the same as when I first listened to it. I thought it was interesting. It had some swancore, Dance Gavin Dance influence. It was a lot of fun. Some of the melodies were good. But it was missing some of like the sauce that makes Dance Gavin Dance so incredible. And I still think that. I've gone back to it and listened to it maybe 4, 5, 6 times since then. And it's still decent, but I just think it's slightly less good in quality than some of Dance Gavin Dance's music. But not bad. Then I listened to Silent Planet Mindframe. And I have not gone back to this at all, so I can't fully give you my thoughts on it, but I am worried that Silent Planet may go the route of Invent Animate, where a lot of their songs start to sound the same, and they get boring, and I'm a little bit concerned about that. Their grooves are still there, and Garrett's screams are still great. I just think that maybe they might do that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's just me being pessimistic because they've been collabing with Invent Animate. And that song was mid, bro. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh my goodness gracious. Watching me die live on camera. Why does my throat get like this after I eat? I don't drink enough water, dude. That's probably why. Then, who in the world disliked my... Oh! No way, I have 2 dislikes on my first Silent Hill 2 remake episode. What in the world? Mods ban these guys. All right, then I listened to Mirar Ascension. Oh boy, this album is insane. This album is crazy. I loved it on first listen, but I said it was a little bit overwhelming. I've listened to it so much that the overwhelmingness is gone, and I'm like singing along to the weird glitchy riffs and everything. And I think it is masterful. I adore it. It is my current contender for album of the year, and I just think it's perfect. I liked Mirar before this. Like, I thought Mirar was a great EP. Toccata was my favorite song of theirs. Now I think it's Faux on Me, but I didn't really get them until this album. Not that I didn't understand them or that I didn't like them or anything, but I thought they were okay but a little gimmicky until this album. And this album really solidified my appreciation and my love for them. And I think it's their best work. And I cannot wait to hear more, because I know they're cooking up in the studio again. They're going to go right back to writing stuff. They're like Darko. They don't stop. Darko keeps pushing out music. Mirar keeps pushing out music. I mean, they dropped a whole 50-minute album on the first day of the year, which is insane. Like, who does that? That's crazy. And it's already not like one of the best albums of the year and a strong contender for my album of the year. Then I checked out Impending Doom, Christ is King, and Punishment, 2 singles off of their upcoming EP. The only problem with this is that they're very short. They're really hard-hitting. They are pretty good songs, but they're very short, and I'm worried that the EP is going to feel too short. But I'll reserve judgment for that. I'll have to do a review of that EP and check that out when that drops. I forget when that drops exactly. I think they dropped another single since then, which is crazy because that's like most of the EP already gone. And I don't want to listen to it. I want to wait for the EP. I'm sick of bands like writing all this good music and then releasing most of it as singles before the EP or the album even drops. And so then it's like you have maybe 5 minutes of new content on the full thing. It's like, why? I wish they didn't do that. I wish they would just put out a full album. Anyway, then I got a request from Pig Vomit. Canbard une couronne de branches, a crown of branches. More atmospheric black metal. Gorgeous, beautiful. I have not actually gone back to it since this video. I will have to go back and check it out. But kind of like I said with the other black metal stuff I've been listening to, I listen to it and I enjoy it, but it's not really something that I go back to all that much, but I still think it's good. So, then Gradients dropped a new track, Crushed by the Tide, which I think is their best song. I've listened to it a little bit more, and I think it's their best song. I'm excited to hear more music from them, and whether they do like another EP or an album this year, I cannot wait to hear, because they are killing it. They have done like everything right. They are so good with their sound, and like just everything that they do is so good. And they're a full band now, and I'm just so hyped to be one of the people who found them earlier on. Well, they found me actually. I think Jacob messaged me and was like, "Hey, check out this song," and I was like, "Okay, sure, I guess." And then now they're amazing. So, I mean, not they weren't amazing before, but you know, they're really, really good. So please go listen to Crushed by the Tide. Please go support Gradients, small band. You know I love supporting small bands. Warforged Voice. Dude, this album is special. This is another one that I was a little bit overwhelmed by, kind of like Mirar on a first listen. And I've listened to it a few times since then, not as much as I've wanted to, because Mirar has been my obsession. Except there's another album that came along recently that you probably know of that has been my obsession for the past week. But Warforged Voice is amazing. The atmosphere, the vibes, just the feeling of this album is unmatched. It is so crazy. Listening to this album and just kind of letting it wash over you, letting the sound take you, letting the atmosphere take you, feeling the story, becoming one with the story. It is so good. It is just amazing. It's a tech death masterpiece, just like I called it in my highlight reaction. Incredible. Then I listened to a few songs from just a few songs on stream. Pop Champagne, I made a video on that for the memes. Not going to talk about that. Today I caught the play. The Artisan Movement was whose was that? This was, I think, yeah. I think that was Joe. Yeah, that was JoJo's monthly request. That was his song request. He requested that I do a video on that, and he was just in stream, and he's like, "Hey, just do it." I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll just listen to it on stream." I do think it's too chaotic for me. That's the thing. I don't like that kind of chaotic music. I think it's just too much, and I don't like it. But I can see why people do. Same thing with colors. I can see why people love colors. I despise it. But I can see why people love colors, and I think that Between the Buried and Me are great, insanely talented musicians. I just really don't like their songwriting. And kind of the same thing with this. It sounds really cool. Just not the biggest fan of how chaotic it is. Then I listened to Disembodied Tyrant Malphasian. I'm just talking about like the stream highlight songs that I made videos on. They were my favorites. I need to listen to whatever the little what is it, like a 3-song EP they put out last year? I need to listen to those other 2 songs and talk about that, because my goodness, Malphasian was insane. That was a ridiculous song. I've not gone back to it, and I kind of want to go back and listen to like the 3-song EP and listen to it with the other songs and just hear it again and do a video on that. That won't take that long. It's 3 songs, but I need to hear that again. Then I heard a couple songs from Igor and Corpamente. This woman's voice is heavenly. I forgot her name. It's something French that was not easy for me to remember, so I forgot it. I'm sorry. But her voice is heavenly. It is incredible. I want to hear more from them, but again, I have so much music and so many bands where I'm like, I want to hear more from them. I can't get to everything all the time, so unless someone pays me to listen to them, I probably won't hear more from them anytime soon, so sorry about that. Then I heard Holy Water Nail Polish. Dude, nail polish is insane. It is so catchy. I said it was extremely catchy on stream. It's gotten even catchier. I was listening to it like so much after that stream, and I couldn't get out of my head for a good 2 weeks after stream. It was insane. It was still good. Well, hang on. What's the date? It's probably not even been 2 weeks since I've heard it. Yeah, it's just been 2 weeks since I've heard it, just about. A little over 2 weeks, I think. That's hilarious. Man, I can't get that song out of my head. It's so good. Amazing. I need to hear more from them. I think I'm going to wait for the full album release, though, before I check out any of their other songs, because I want to check out a whole album fully from them. Dude, Cold Night for Alligators, the Hindsight notes. I've glazed this album to no end, and I will continue to glaze this album. It is perfect. I've listened to it so many times, and I think I can confidently say it's just a hair better than Destrier, and I think it's purely because of the catchiness. Destrier's a little bit more prog with some of the songs. You have like the last half of the Autumn Red, Let Fall the Curtain. You've got some weird ones that are kind of more proggy, and they kind of take their time with things a little bit more, which I really appreciate, and it's really, really cool. But just because of how consistently catchy the Hindsight notes is, I think I gotta bump it in front of Destrier, which is crazy. But that's my second favorite album of all time. I think I gotta call it. I don't know. You can say it's recency bias, and it's only been like not even a week since I've heard it. Yeah, tomorrow I'm recording this on Wednesday, January 29th, like end of the day. It's like 10:30 p.m. But having not only been a week since I've heard it, it's still a masterpiece. I haven't gotten tired of it. It's been on a repeat nonstop. I tried to put some other albums in there, snuck a little Harkla Living Mountain in there, but I need to just hear more of it. It's just so good. I can't get enough of it. It's my second favorite album of all time as of now. Call it recency bias, whatever. Then I checked out Invent, Animate, and Silent Planet's song Return to One. Not going to dwell on this because you know how I feel about it. I'm disappointed. I was hoping there would be more Silent Planet influence. There was more Invent, Animated influence, and it was kind of boring. Marcus's clean section in the middle of that was the best part of it by far. If they'd done a whole song like that, I would have called it amazing. Like, that's the reason that Heavener is one of my favorite songs ever. But I just do not like songs that aren't ballads from Invent, Animate, I guess. I don't know. Something about the way they do riffs just feels a little boring. And I said what I said. Not a contrarian. That's just how I feel when I listen to their music. Then I checked out, like I said, Harkla Living Mountain. That's another album I've been listening to a few times since I listened to it just a few days ago, actually. Like 4 or 5 days ago. And I thought it was a masterpiece then. I've listened to it two or three times since then. I still think it's a masterpiece. It's amazing. It's great. It's so groovy. It's so vibey. I love it. I don't have too many thoughts about that right now, but I'm gonna maybe I'll update you guys later in another future episode when I have some more time after listening to it to kind of think of things. So without further ado, that's the end. So thanks for watching this episode of CoreyCast. I forgot the name. I was going to say Theory Clip, but I've shelved that series. It's gone. I don't know what I'm going to do with the episodes. I don't want to just post them publicly because I don't have random like Theory Clip episodes on my channel, but they're there. You can sub on Patreon and watch them, I guess, if you care. But I don't know. It just wasn't fun for me. It just wasn't fun going into like just giving theory lessons. It felt like work. So sorry. If you want an individual theory lesson and you want me to explain something theory wise, I mean, hop into Discord. I'll be happy to answer your questions. You can DM me. You can just at me in one of the channels in my Discord. Whatever. I don't care. Yeah. All right. Cool. Gonna cut that off there for this album. I mean this episode. Cool. Got through a chunk. Now a lot of that chunk, however, was like me finishing up student teaching, and so I was a little bit like sporadic with not sporadic. Is that what it is? Like spread out? Anyway, my reactions were a little more spread out over the past few months since September, so I actually didn't listen to too much music. But those are my thoughts on the songs and albums that I've heard since then. So thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. And I will catch you all in my next video. Goodbye. See ya.